I was just thinking that it's kind of crazy that we do all of this just to survive. And they consider you lucky if you have a 9 to 5 and you're able to make money doing it the old fashioned way. But I think it's actually crazy that we have to ask for permission to take time off of work. And we just got done with Labor Day, and I was literally thinking that most people don't have the freedom to even take a day off. And I always wonder, like, what would happen if we all rebelled at once and we all woke up at once and we just decided to rewrite the system completely at one time. Because it's literally crazy that as an adult you have to ask permission to take time off for a doctor's appointment, to take time off if you have a sick kid. We're basically enslaved to the system. It's just a new form of slavery. The cost of living keeps us trapped in this crazy cycle of having to commute to work and go home, and we sacrifice most of our waking hours just to work, and then we're too tired to do anything when we get home with our free time, which is absolutely crazy. So how do we just all sit here and accept that this is the way things are? I followed the life script of going to college, trying to get a job, getting good grades, and I literally have nothing to show for it because I didn't fit in to society. And I don't think anybody is literally meant to do this, because you basically have to contort yourself to fit into a system that most people, it's like one size fits all. If you don't fit in, then you're doomed. And I don't think we're meant to live with this level of monotony every single day. The day in and day out daily grind is absolutely soul crushing, and I feel like they do it on purpose to make it impossible for us to rebel. And so much is taken by taxes to fund God knows what in terms of the government. Like, the government decides everything that our taxes go to and everything. And we're just basically dependent on the system. So because I can't work, I won't work. And in a way, not having the capacity to work, and in a way being disabled, has given me a blessing where I can basically do whatever I want with my free time. But I do need money, and that sucks. So I really think the 9 to 5 is a trap. I don't think that you should quit your day job, of course, but just because it's normal doesn't mean it's healthy and doesn't mean it's okay. It shouldn't be the norm. Our life force is wasted on survival, and it's just not worth it to make ends meet. We shouldn't normalize having no life outside of work, and it shouldn't be the way things are. We just take for granted that we waste our lives like this. So anyway, guys, my name is Shelby. As you can see, I'm a visual artist by my hobby, I guess. It's kind of a hobby that sometimes pays for it. These paintings behind me are for sale if you're interested. And you can support this channel, of course, by subscribing, becoming a channel member, leaving a super thanks, or buy me a coffee, which is beneath the video for donations. And of course my Shopify, where you can buy my art. So basically I'm unemployed, mostly because I'm unemployable. I have multiple disabilities, and I'm just not really meant for the workforce, I guess. And to be honest with you guys, I do want autonomy. I do want financial autonomy. And I know that I'll be called entitled for complaining about how overwhelming the 9 to 5 is, and how much we have to do just to stay off the streets. But I think it's kind of crazy that we have to do all this just to barely make ends meet. They say 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So 60% of people are basically slaves. And I think it's inhumane. And I think that we have one life, and it's wasted on this capitalistic society that I wish I didn't exist in the first place. Like, most of us didn't ask to be here. And it's a complete psyop. I mean, you have to act like you want to be at work on top of everything else. You have to put on a professional, enthusiastic face, and there's so much performative stuff that goes on in terms of maintaining employment that it's actually crazy. And it's gotten to the point where I just don't care, and I just can't take it seriously. I just don't want to work, and because I don't have to, I'm not going to. And even if I wanted to, I have a chronic illness, as many of you know, and that kind of keeps me unemployed. And I honestly believe that hard work is a scam. And I mean, at this point, YouTube is my only income. So That's not exactly ideal. Obviously, you're taking advice. Don't take advice from me. Don't quit your day job or anything like that. To be honest, I didn't trust myself because I knew in the beginning that the conventional path was never for me. And I've wasted so much time trying to fit in instead of doing what I know I'm meant to do. And I guess what I'm meant to do is art. Even though it's not really that lucrative right now, I think that I still have a blessing to be able to do this at all. And burning yourself out just to compete for survival is not something I can even force myself to do at this point. Weekends are for errands, and then you have to prepare for the rest of the week, so even your days off are not free days. So of course the younger generation doesn't want to work like this. They want to live. And working hard is only rewarded with being given more work. So like if you break your ass at a 9 to 5, the only thing that's going to happen is that they're going to be like, oh, this person is exploitable. We can exploit this person and give them more work. I mean, there's no way to really get ahead when you're born into a certain caste system. We say that there's no caste systems in America, but that's just not true. You're born into a certain class, and that's where you remain for the rest of your life. And to be honest, what is the point of living 40 more years just to scrape by to survive? Like, 40 more years of this seems kind of pointless. It just seems like each day bleeds into the next, and it's not really worth it. And what's crazy is that people still have kids, bringing more slaves into this system. I just can't condone anyone that brings more people into this world, because it's like I've always questioned like my existence. It's like why was I born in the first place just to exist and do nothing with my life, you know? So we are told the harder we work, the farther ahead we will get, and this has always been a lie, and it just gets you used and abused, like I said before. We shouldn't have to spend all of our time not doing what we don't want to do, doing what we don't want to do. And we've been sold a lie to sell our time for $1, even though time is our most precious resource as human beings. We've been born as slaves, and survival shouldn't be dependent on a performance review, but most of the time, our self-worth and our survival is in the hands of somebody else. And I don't believe that there's a way out. Like, the get-rich-quick scammers make their money through selling dreams, and it really does seem like we're trapped. And we're supposed to be grateful for the crumbs that our slave masters leave us, and we're supposed to just put our hands out for a couple of dollars that we slave our lives away for. And it's no wonder that people join pyramid schemes and waste money on online scams, scam courses and stuff like that, because like people want to think that there's hope, but at the end of the day, there's really no hope at all. It seems that because we're all trapped in this system together. And working yourself to death is seen as a high honor in certain countries, and it's such a psyop, it's such a lie. You're never going to find me working myself to death. I guess my life is kind of a reflection of my work ethic maybe, but I really don't think that having a strong work ethic is a way out of the system. I think it's actually sort of a way to stay trapped as a slave in the system. And we don't hate work enough. I know we complain about it, but nothing changes, and we're kept too exhausted to rebel. And we deserve better things, guys. We actually deserve a better life, I think. And I wish we could do something about it, but I don't know how anyone can work without wanting to unalive themselves, honestly. Because honestly, work is so depressing. The thought of just wasting my time doing stuff I don't want to do is like almost unattainable for me. I just can't wrap my head around it at this point. The reality of working for 40 years to life is an impossible gauntlet, and I just don't know if I have it in me. I actually don't think I'm able to work at all. And I know that I'm not cut out for corporate. I'm just not cut out for survival in this capitalistic society. I think without my family, I'd be homeless. And I'm very fortunate that I live in a family that's not going to kick me out. At least they've threatened to kick me out, as you guys know before, but I think they've kind of pulled back on that recently, and they're not going to kick me out now. It does go back and forth with them, kind of like whether or not we're getting along and stuff like that, but I also hate being broke, and I literally don't know what to do in terms of money. And what are we even surviving for? That's the question. Like, what is the point of just doing all this just to get a little bit of like numbing agent, like, you know, beer or wine and smoke? Like, it seems completely like a waste of time. And when you set boundaries at work, that's not allowed. Advocacy for yourself is not allowed. You are expected to bleed your energy dry just to buy food and water and gas in your car just to go back to work the next day. And boomers love to call us lazy for seeing through this lie. Like, I know a lot of Gen Z doesn't want to work. And I guess I'm kind of a millennial. I was born in 93, so I'm definitely a millennial. But I definitely support Gen Z and all of their ideals about laying flat and not participating in the workforce and not wanting to be abused for a dollar. I don't want to drain my soul, and no God wants us to spend our life doing things that don't matter. And that kind of makes me feel like there's no God at all. And to be honest, unless you're rich, life is slavery. It really is. Job security is also a myth, and all of this is just for a total lack of fulfillment. Just to get laid off if you don't fit in, make someone jealous, or do your job and just go home. Because if you just do your job and go home, they say you don't fit into company culture because you're not participating in the reindeer games of office politics. And corporate politics are enough to drive you insane. Like, if you don't get along with other people, or they deem you difficult to work with, or you can be fired for being good at your job but not getting along with other people. And that's one of the biggest things for me that has held me back from employment, is just not getting along with other people. It's not to say that I fight them, it's just that they don't like me. And because I'm not very likable in terms of the workplace, I end up getting let go 9 times out of 10. And most of us will work until we die, and the myth of retirement is only an illusion on the horizon. It's not real. And just because you don't have kids doesn't mean life is easy. I just don't know how anyone can have kids in this society and make it work. The idea of producing more slaves for our slave masters is just not right. You know, the wolves are angry that the sheep are no longer reproducing. And being kind and genuine is a way to get taken advantage of in the workplace and get stabbed in the back. You know, people take advantage of good people all the time. And that's just the way it is. I don't want to miss out on life moments that actually matter. And by sacrificing all your life force to a 9 to 5, that's kind of what happens. And I know that I'm in a position where I don't have to work, and most people do, but for those of you that do have to work, I feel for you. I really do. And having your time controlled is slavery. The money is just not worth it. The fact that you have to schedule with your boss, like, when you want to take a break to go to see the dentist and get your filling filled, is absolutely insane. And anyone who dreams of a job has been psyoped. Like, I don't think there's any such thing for me as a dream job. I don't really have a dream employment opportunity because I don't dream of labor. And the worst is when you dream that you're at work even when you're on the weekend. So there's literally no escape even in your sleep. And having a job is just a form of dependency that society creates in order to keep you trapped. And then there's these arbitrary hierarchies at work based on seniority, based on status. And then you have to obey orders in order to avoid punishment. And then you have to deal with, like, people asking you, how was your weekend, as though you had time to do anything important at all over the weekend. And I really don't like small talk. Like, there's just all these cultural things, cultural norms you have to jump through, and all these hoops you have to jump through, like you're freaking Shamu at the circus. And to me, it just seems like we've been scammed into this lifestyle where we've just normalized being enslaved. And I'm very fortunate that I don't have to be one of these people that is enslaved into the system. At least in terms of I don't have to work because my parents are supporting me. Which does mean I don't have any money, basically. But I really don't need that much to survive at this point. And again, if you wanted to support my art, you can buy some stuff on my Shopify. Leave a donation in the chat in terms of a super thanks, or buy me a coffee on my donation site, which is also in the description. So that's basically what I was thinking about today, was just that we're basically told since birth that if you work really hard and you put your best foot forward, that it will be rewarded. And to be honest, I haven't seen that in my own life being reflected. I did work very hard at school. I worked very hard at school, and then I had a mental health crisis and a health crisis, and then I was basically evicted from the system because when you're not able-bodied anymore, the system basically criminalizes you. And if it wasn't for my family, I think I would be criminalized for being homeless, for not being able to survive. on these streets and in this life, because basically being disabled is against the law in this country if you don't have support. Because if you're not able to participate, people just won't allow you to exist. You're not allowed to just exist in this life. You have to contribute to some billionaire's super yacht or something stupid like that. And I'm just kind of tired of it, to be honest. I don't want to participate in it. I see through it, and I'm absolutely proud of Gen Z for not participating in the workforce. I know that there's this trend in China called laying flat, or in Japan they call it let it rot. And a lot of young people are just refusing to participate in the workforce. They're just letting it rot. They're just saying, no thanks, I don't want to contribute to the system anymore. And they're just existing on the bare minimum in order to survive, and that's fine. That's kind of what I'm doing as well. I do paint and draw and stuff like that with my free time. As you can see behind me. I can't do it. This camera's weird. But I guess that's kind of it for today's video. This is more of a shorter one. Basically, I'm just not interested in participating in the system. The rat race is a scam. And since I don't have to work, I'm not going to. I guess I'm just going to drift and be a drifter for my life. And I'm glad that my parents kind of changed their mind about kicking me out. Honestly, my PMS gets crazy, and I do kind of get really emotional during certain times of the month, as you guys have seen. And I'm up and down in terms of my moods. But I did leave a question on the community page. So if you guys wanted to ask me a question, I'm going to do a 10K subscriber special soon where I answer all you guys' questions. And I will start streaming soon probably, so that's something to look forward to as well. And I guess we're just going to see where that goes from here. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. My name is Shelby. I exist, I make stuff, and that's about it. So thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.